New packaging from Clash Disc, fresh from Finland. They sent me out the new tone technology to try out, and I'm here to review it. Let's get it. Fresh out of the box, this has some of the grippiest plastic I've ever had, and probably the most solid rim out of any disc I've ever played with. The only disc Clash has in the tone technology so far is the Salt, which is a 12.5 -1.3 driver, kind of like a Destroyer, or the most recent time lapse from MVP. So I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison here, not too much comparing, more just to see of how the tone holds up overall when I throw it on forehand, backhand, and torque resistance. For the first throw, we're going to go ahead and try and throw a hyzer flip to that pole out there. Flips up nice to flat, and a nice smooth finish there at the end. We're going to try the same thing with the time lapse here. Smooth sailing at the shot, fade out a little bit after. I shanked that one into the ground a little bit more. Next up, I'm going to throw a forehand. As you guys can see, this has got such a nice flexible path. If I compare it to the time lapse here, you can definitely tell the time lapse is a little bit more stiff and does not have nowhere near as much grip as this tone technology does. But let's get the forehand going. Sheesh. Absolute bomb right at 400 feet, and I barely even threw that. Last throw, we're gonna do a backhand anhyzer. Try and lean back a little bit, see how far it fades out on the anhyzer. Absolutely spiked. That disc is never gonna fly the same again. Do the same thing here with the time lapse. Just absolute spike. Time lapse definitely showing a little bit more stability on how it's coming back there. I did air it out a lot more. Final thoughts for the Clash Disc's tone. It's definitely not as overstable as they claimed it to be, but this is still in the early making, still kind of a prototype, so I'm not going to hold too much against it. Definitely a lot more durable around the rim than that Wild Honey was. I know a lot of people were breaking those Wild Honeys relatively quickly. I did have a few throws smacked down on the pavement pretty hard, and it's still well and intact, so I'm happy with that. But the time lapse is definitely more torque resistance and stable than the tone. Like I said, it could just be the one that I got, so I'm not going to hold them against that since they only sent me one. But definitely holds up a lot better, and it's definitely a beautiful disc. I'm definitely going to bag this for backhands. Don't know if it's as useful for forehands though.
It's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.